Hello, welcome back to our channel. I'm Alan Dembski. This is Juliana Jansen with Buffalo First Wealth Management. We are going to continue the conversation today on guilt-free spending, otherwise known as budgeting. Today, we're going to talk about some strategies to help you develop a plan for the guilt-free spending, and we like to call it lifestyle planning. So take into account some of the things that we will talk about will affect your lifestyle, not just your money.
And there are different ways that you can address the whole budgeting issue, the guilt-free spending issue. And the best method is the one that you're going to stick to. So the idea of what is going to work with your lifestyle. That's the one that you want to pick. Even if it might not be producing exactly the data that you need, if it's going to keep you on track from your spending, that's the best method for you. And the first step in the budgeting process is to understand your expenses. You want to, first of all, understand what your fixed expenses are: mortgage, insurance, utilities, things that are not discretionary. You have to pay them every month. And then a better understanding of what your flexible spending would be. So things like food, things like clothing, those types of expenditures that you need to make, but it's not the same amount every month. And then lastly, the most fun category is your discretionary spending. We talked in our last video a little bit about, are you a car person? Are you a travel person? What is important to you? And then you can allocate the funds according to what's important to you.
Yeah, and I think the best way to help people along this journey of the lifestyle planning is to have an accountability partner. Because with anything, we kind of fall off the wagon a little bit and do things that we may not think is the right thing, but we're not going to question ourselves, or we're going to have an excuses why to let things go, whether it's a spouse, or another partner or a parent actually can help you with this as well. And don't forget about us financial advisors. That's part of our job as advisors, is to help you understand, give you the pros and cons of your spending, and show you how any of these decisions will help affect your future lifestyle.
Definitely. It's definitely a role that we play. The bucket strategy is another method that a lot of people find gives them the most flexibility without a ton of tracking, basically. So once you've identified what your fixed and your flexible and your discretionary availability is for funds, then you set it up and forget it. And you actually, a lot of the clients that we see have different categories. They have their home category, home expenditures, home improvements category. They have their travel category. They have their clothes category, whatever it is they spend on. And then money gets moved from their paycheck every month according to what they've allocated to each category. And the nice thing about it is, if you have a home expense and you're not planning on traveling, you can move from one category to the next, and it keeps you accountable and it keeps you on track for your broader goals.
And one of the things when we were planning this video, we were talking about the old envelopes, putting cash in envelopes. But in a digital society, sometimes you have to be creative, setting up separate bank accounts and things like that when you're planning this out. Also, apps. There are a lot of apps now. Your phone is, or your app store is plentiful with budgeting apps. A couple that come to mind is Copilot, Monarch Money, I think the one is. And YNAB, You Need a Budget, is another app. So some of these things you can incorporate and connect to all your credit cards, your bank accounts, and you could track it that way. And then there's the old-fashioned way of just pulling out your bank statement, what you've been doing for the last 2 or 3 months, because everyone generally pays with a debit or credit card. Now you have a written record of everything that you're doing if you're not using an app.
Yeah. The main thing, like we said, is to just stick with it. And whatever method works for you is the best way to continue, because really tracking your spending, and we see this with clients all the time, is one of the fastest ways to meeting your long-term financial goals. The clients that kind of don't really look at their spending at all typically do not do as well as those that do some sort of tracking, whatever that method is.
I just want to tell a quick client story. I had a client one time, and she had a plentiful surplus. And she's like, no way, I don't have that much money in my bank account, which we already knew because we did a plan. And the amount of other spending, whether it was stopping at the gas station for a cup of coffee, or the biggest expense that she had was the iTunes store. $1.29. Her husband loved music and he was constantly downloading music. And $1.29 doesn't sound like a lot at the beginning, but after you do 30, 40 songs a month, that adds up very quickly.
It starts to add up. Yeah.
But no matter what process you choose, I think having fun with it and really analyzing it, and when you're out, I think too, is people kind of have fun with it. Should we order that $40 steak or should we get that $22 chicken? So just making a game of it, but understanding where you are, what you're doing is, half the battle. Anything you want to add?
The one thing that I would love to know is if you have a method of budgeting that works for you, we'd love it if you drop in the comments because we're always looking for great tips to share with our clients.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.